Wherever and whatever your banking needs, Guarantee Trust Bank will be there, now and into the future. Because you're at the heart of everything we do. Guarantee Trust Bank, proudly African, truly international.
Royal Dutch Shell has sold 4 of its oil fields in Nigeria as the company now pushes ahead with global asset sales to cut costs. Reports say Shell is close to selling the assets for about $5 billion to domestic buyers. No details were available as to when the full process will be completed. Last year, Shell put up for sale 30% of its shares in 4 oil blocks in the Niger Delta. That's OML 18, 24, 25, 29, as well as a key pipeline, the Nembe Creek trunk line. In the meantime, France's Total and Italy's Eni are also set to raise revenue from the sale of their 10% and 5% shares in the assets. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation owns the remaining 55%. In March, there was a report that 2 Nigerian firms, Talveras and Iteco, made the highest bid of $2.85 billion for the biggest of the 4 oil fields, OML 29. Shell, along with many other oil majors, is undergoing a broad process of asset sales across the world in an effort to cut costs and boost profits. Now to the foreign scene. South Sudan's rebels have denied being behind the UN-8 helicopter which crashed near the town of Bentiu. Now, the town has been one of the worst affected by fighting as a result of a political dispute between President Salva Kiir and his former deputy Riek Machar. Thousands have died since the conflict started, and many more have fled the fighting. The spokesperson for the South Sudanese army had on Monday accused the rebels of shooting down the helicopter, but the rebel military spokesperson has offered help in investigation into the incident. The UN mission in South Sudan has been very instrumental in getting food to the 1.8 million people living as refugees since the unrest. And now to sports news. Over the crisis going on in the Nigeria Football Federation, where the country stands the risk of a ban by the World Soccer governing body of FIFA. The disputes within the federation have already led to a FIFA intervention, provisional suspension, and the enforced return of Aminu Megeri to office after his impeachment last month. Another ban could affect Nigeria's 2015 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against Congo and South Africa early next month. In the meantime, Football Administrator Chris Giwa says he is ready to resume office as the new president of the NFF, despite the crisis being far from over. Well, after the Congress at the Chida Hotel in Abuja, elections took place and Mr. Giwa was appointed president and Obinna Ogba as his vice. With that, we've come to the end of Sports News and News Track. Thank you for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Coming up next, Straight Talk.
My name is Kadria Ahmed, and this is a special edition of Straight Talk. About a month ago, Nigerians woke up to the news that the dreaded Ebola virus, which is killing people in neighboring Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea, had found its way into the country. And worst, the identified carrier of the disease, Liberian-American Mr. Patrick Sawyer, had come into contact with several people prior to his death 4 days after arriving in Lagos. Within hours, misinformation started spreading, with claims that kola nuts contained the cure for Ebola and that bathing with salt water at dawn was a sure way of battling the disease. Some unscrupulous religious teachers even attempted to use this dreaded disease to make money by claiming they had a cure. Since Mr. Sawyer, the man who brought Ebola to Nigeria, entered the country through Lagos, the state government assumed the primary responsibility for tackling the problem and quickly rolled out a containment strategy. As we speak, the state appears to be winning the war against Ebola. To discuss the deadly Ebola virus, the containment strategy deployed by the Lagos state government, and what people can do to avoid getting infected, I am pleased to have with me on the program Dr. Yewande Adesina, Special Advisor to the Governor of Lagos State on Public Health. Dr. Adesina, thank you for coming to Straight Talk.
Thank you for having me.
Now, a lot of misinformation about Ebola. People don't really understand the disease. In places like Liberia and Sierra Leone, for example, they're even talking about it as some sort of spiritual issue. I'd like to start with the basics. What is Ebola?
Ebola is a microorganism that belongs to the group of the virus. The viruses are a special type of microorganisms that have defied treatment over the years, unlike the bacteria where we have antibiotics that can take care of them. The Ebola virus belongs to a group, a genus, a family called the filovirus. It has Marburg in that same group, and in a larger family group there are the Lassa fever, yellow fever, dengue fever. All of these are commonly called the hemorrhagic fevers. Hemorrhagic in the sense that they kill the infected person by causing that person to bleed to death. Hemorrhagic fever. And that is how they attack the system, cause bleeding, the person goes into shock and passes on.
How is Ebola spread? There's talk of it being spread through mosquitoes. There's talk that it could be airborne. There are people who believe that you can get it by shaking hands. How is it spread?
Basically, plainly put, it is spread by contact with the body fluid of an infected person. But that is the human-to-human spread. Ebola virus was first discovered in 1976 in the Republic of Congo, where it is named after a river actually in the Congo called Ebola River. It is believed that there are wild fruit bats in the rainforest that carry Ebola virus as a normal part of a symbiotic relationship where when they eat fruits, they regurgitate the virus into the fruits. Now, the understanding is man can eat the fruit and become infected, which is far removed. Wild animals can eat the bat. Man can eat the bat. Wild animals eating the bat become infected with the virus. The hunter goes to hunt the wild animals, and in the preparation of the wild animals, handling the blood, body fluids, gets infected.
Human-to-human contact, how does that happen?
The most important, commonest, and first symptom is the high fever. So the hunter is infected, goes about his business, then he comes down with the fever. The minutes or the time he comes down with the fever is when he is contagious. The symptoms of Ebola virus include vomiting and diarrhea, body aches, severe body aches, joint pains, sore throat, headache, extreme weakness, extreme lethargy, bleeding from peripheral organs, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ears, the private part,